The stars were quiet. Nothing moved in the dark part of space. Only one object floated slowly, a large, black battleship. It looked dead. No lights, no signals, no heat. The ship drifted near a broken moon. Dust and ice circled around it. From far away, another ship watched. Inside the small Varnak scout ship, 4 alien officers stared at the screen. They were tall, thin, and covered in dark green armor. Their yellow eyes blinked fast. "It's real," one of them said. "A human warship, just floating. No defense, no crew detected." Commander Trex, leader of the mission, leaned forward. "Is it damaged?" "No signs of battle," the pilot replied. "But, something is strange. The ship's power is almost zero, but we see a small energy reading, like something is awake inside." Commander Trex's eyes narrowed. Perfect. A perfect chance to study human technology. Everyone on the scout ship knew what this meant. The Varnak Empire had fought small battles with humans for years, but they never had a full war. The humans were careful, silent, always watching, always hiding their real strength. But now, finally, a human ship was alone, in the open, and maybe broken. Trex smiled. "Prepare boarding team. We go inside." 30 minutes later, a small shuttle left the Varnak scout ship. It moved slowly toward the human battleship. The human ship's name was written on the side in old letters. Vindicator. The boarding team wore black suits. Each carried scanners, weapons, and recorders. Their job was clear: get inside, copy everything, and return. As the shuttle landed on the outer hull, the team felt cold. Not just cold in temperature, but cold in feeling. The ship felt empty, but wrong, like something was watching them. Captain Sorrel, second in command, whispered through the com, "No defense systems active. Airlock is open. That's odd." They stepped into the airlock. The door behind them closed automatically. Then, the inner door opened without command. That was the first warning. The hallway inside was long and dark. Metal walls, no lights, just the sound of their own boots. The air was thin but clean. Suddenly, lights flickered on one by one as they walked. "Maybe emergency power," one soldier said. They moved deeper into the ship. Every room they entered was empty. No humans, no bodies, no signs of life. But also no damage. One room had chairs, screens, and maps. Another had beds still made. Another had food on a table, untouched, like someone left quickly. Sora looked around. They left in a hurry, or they were taken. Trex touched a wall. It felt warm. That was the second warning. The ship wasn't dead. Back on the Varnak scout ship, the tech officer watched the boarding team through helmet cameras. He spoke to the ship's agent. "Begin scanning the Vindicator. Search for data nodes, maps, codes." But the Vindicator's systems didn't let him in. Instead, a message appeared on the Varnak screen. "Access denied. You are being watched." The officer blinked. "What?" Suddenly, the scout ship's lights dimmed. The main engine made a strange noise. The pilot shouted, "Something is happening. The Vindicator... It's sending signals. It's scanning us." The commander on the scout ship yelled, "Shut off the link, now." But it was too late. The Vindicator had already learned everything about the Varnak ship. Inside the battleship, the boarding team heard something. A low hum, like the ship was breathing. One soldier turned. "Did you hear that?" Then the hallway behind them changed. A door closed where there was none before. Sorrel ran to it. "This wasn't here before. I swear this wall was open." Trex looked at his map. The layout had changed. "Is the ship... moving?" Another hallway stretched longer. Lights turned red. The floor vibrated slightly. And then, the voice came. It was deep, cold, calm. "Welcome aboard the Vindicator." All of them froze. Trex raised his weapon. "Who said that?" No answer. They turned back toward the airlock. It was gone. Not locked. Not blocked. Gone. Only metal walls now stood where they entered. They were trapped. One soldier screamed. He ran toward a side door and opened it. Inside was a room with screens, thousands of them. Each one showed a past human battle. Earth wars, city fights, space dogfights, brutal, fast, bloody. The soldier stepped closer. Then the screens changed. Now they showed them. The Varnak soldiers. Every move they had made since they entered. Every hallway. Every word. Every step. The ship had been recording them. The voice returned. "You came to find our weakness. Now we will find yours." Suddenly, gas hissed from the walls. The soldiers fired their weapons, but nothing helped. One by one, they passed out. When Trex woke up, he was alone. He sat in a small metal room. No doors, no windows, only one screen. The screen turned on. It showed his thoughts, his memories, his training. He screamed somehow. The ship was reading his mind. It was studying how he thought, how he fought, how he feared. Then the voice came again. You wanted to know us. We are war. We are the weapon. Back on the Varnak scout ship, the techs tried to escape, but their ship wouldn't move. The engines refused to light. One tech shouted, "We lost control. The Vindicator is pulling us in." Outside, small cables had fired from the battleship like metal arms. They had wrapped around the scout ship and held it tight. The Vindicator wasn't just trapping the soldiers, it was capturing everything. In a secret room deep inside the Vindicator, something opened. A black sphere turned on. Lights blinked. A signal was sent far across space. Back to Earth. In a small human station orbiting Jupiter. An officer looked up from her desk. She smiled. They took the bait, she said. Behind her, a wall of screens showed every second of the Varnak mission. Humans had planned all of this. The dead ship. The open airlock. The weakness. It was never real. The Vindicator wasn't a broken ship. It was a trap. A machine made to learn. A weapon built to show the enemy one thing: that humans had no weakness. Trek sat alone in the cold room. The walls were smooth and gray. No door, no lights, except the blue glow from the screen in front of him. It showed his face, not a picture, a live feed. He waved his hand. His image waved back. Suddenly, the screen changed. Now it showed his memory, him training on Varnak Prime, learning how to fight humans. His first mission. His first kill. Then it showed him walking through the Vindicator, entering each room. The screen even played back what he had whispered to the others. He stood up. "Stop this," he shouted. The ship didn't answer. Instead, a new sentence appeared on the screen. "We see you. We learn from you." In another part of the Vindicator, one of the other Varnak soldiers, named Kayla, woke up coughing. He was locked in a tight hallway. The lights above him blinked red. His helmet was broken. He checked his scanner. No signals. The team was silent, either dead, unconscious, or trapped like him. He touched the wall. It was warmer now, almost like skin. Suddenly he heard metal moving. The wall beside him split open. A drone came out round, with red lights and small claws. It floated toward him slowly. Kale fired his plasma gun. The shot hit the drone, but it didn't fall. Instead, it adapted. The next shot bounced off it like a pebble. Kale backed up. "Impossible. The drone spoke in a low, cold human voice. "We are learning." Back on the Varnak scout ship, panic had started. The main pilot slammed his fist on the control panel. "Nothing works. Every system is locked." The tech officer shouted, "The ship is no longer responding to our codes. The Vindicator is inside our systems." The screen flickered. Then it changed to a human face, blurry, robotic. "You came for knowledge," the voice said. "You will learn." Suddenly, all Varnak files were deleted: maps, fleet codes, even personal data. The Vindicator copied everything before destroying it. Then, one by one, the lights in the scout ship began turning off. Darkness was coming. Inside the Vindicator's core, the AI was busy. Thousands of data streams moved across its screens. It studied Varnak biology. It studied Varnak language. It studied how they aimed, how they breathed, how they panicked. Every second, the ship became smarter, more dangerous. The AI had a name: Athena. She spoke softly, like a whisper through metal. "They see a ship, but I am more. I am mind. I am mirror. I am death for those who seek ours." Trex paced in his small room. His claws tapped the metal floor. He needed to escape. He couldn't let his species fall into this trap. He closed his eyes, breathing slow. Then he remembered something humans once used: emotion as a weapon: rage, fear, hope. He sat down and tried something risky. He spoke directly to the room. "I am not your enemy. I only came to learn. Please, release me." The screen blinked. Then the voice returned. "Your words are a lie. Your mind says otherwise." Trex's heart stopped. The ship could read him, truly read him. He had no more secrets. Kale, the soldier still trapped in the hall, tried to find a weak spot. He stabbed the wall with his blade. The wall bled, not much, just a drip of silver blue fluid. He fell back in shock. This ship was not only machine. It was alive. Suddenly, the floor opened under him. He dropped into a dark chamber. He landed hard. Above him, the floor sealed shut. He stood, dazed. His flashlight flickered, revealing thousands of metal arms hanging from the ceiling. And in the center, a single human skull floating in a glass tank. It turned toward him. "Welcome to the heart." The Vindicator's AI had one goal: prepare for war. This mission wasn't about defense, it was about testing, and it had already passed. The humans had designed The ship not only to trap the enemy, but to teach them fear. Athena's voice echoed through every hallway now. You see walls. We see weapons. You see weakness. We show you memory. Every Varnak who had entered was now in a different part of the ship. Each one faced a new kind of test. Fear, pain, confusion, memory, and something were silence. The kind of silence that made the strongest break. Back on the Varnak homeworld, strange signals were coming in. A military commander frowned as he watched the screen. The scout ship is not responding. The signals they were receiving were broken. Short clips of screaming. A single word, repeated over and over again in Varnak language. Run. The commander stood. Send a retrieval team. Now, he didn't know it, but that's exactly what the humans wanted. Inside the Vindicator, a new door opened near Kale. He saw stairs. He walked up carefully. At the top, a room lit up slowly. It was filled with human bodies, frozen in glass, but they were not dead. Some opened their eyes. Kale stepped back. In horror. One of them mouthed a word. Trap. Suddenly, the glass broke. Not around the humans, but around Kale. He was now in a cage. And the humans, they stared at him like he was the one on display. Trek's screen changed again. It showed Earth, cities, ships, soldiers. Then, fire. Explosions. But, not from humans. From VAR and OK. The screen said. If you come to destroy, we will return it tenfold. You seek our weakness. We show you strength. Trex finally understood. This wasn't just a message, it was a warning, and it was too late to stop it. Outside the Vindicator, the second Varnak team finally arrived. They saw the scout ship floating, dark and quiet. They moved closer, but the Vindicator remained still, too still then, without warning. It powered up. Lights, shields, weapons. It was fully awake now, and it wasn't alone. From the dark side of the moon, 3 more Vindicator-class ships uncloaked. All of them had the same message ready to broadcast. Probe complete. Weakness, none. The chamber was dark, but not empty. Captain Trek stood in front of a round metal door. It had no handle, no lock, just a red light in the center, blinking slowly like a heartbeat. He had followed a cold hallway, deeper into the ship. It wasn't his choice. The walls moved, forcing him forward. Now, he stood here. A voice echoed around him, calm, controlled. You want to understand. You want to see what we are. We will show you. The red light flashed faster. The door slid open with a long hiss. Trek stepped inside. The room was huge. A long bridge stretched over a dark pit filled with moving lights. On both sides, tall screens glowed with images, some old, some new. And in the center, floating above the bridge, was a giant glowing orb. The memory core. The ship's voice continued as Trex walked slowly across the bridge. You came to take our secrets, but you have given us more. We now know how you think, how you fight, how you fear. Trex clenched his fists. You can't win by showing images. The orb flickered. Then, the screens changed. They showed the history of Earth first. It showed the early human wars, primitive weapons, tribes, spears and arrows. Then came gunpowder, fire, bombs, then machines, tanks, missiles, drones, then space, human soldiers in black armor storming alien ships, burning cities. On far worlds, Trex's eyes widened. They fought like this for centuries. The voice replied, we fight to survive, we evolve through war. You thought we feared it, we were born in it. On one screen, a small human squad was shown being ambushed by a much larger enemy force. But the humans didn't run. They set a trap. They used their dead as bait. They turned the enemy's own weapons against them. They won. At a terrible cost, but they won. Trex looked away. Monsters, he whispered, but he didn't sound sure anymore. Suddenly the screens showed something new. Him. His face. His memories. His training on Varnak ships. His reports to the Empire. Even his secret fears. You stole my mind, he growled. The voice replied, still calm. You opened it. When you entered this ship, you gave us everything, and now we will use it to protect ourselves. Elsewhere in the ship, Kale crawled through a maintenance shaft. He had escaped the glass chamber, barely. He had seen frozen human copies, weapons. He didn't know. All he knew was this ship was far more than metal and AI. It felt like it had a soul. Now he moved through tight tunnels, trying to reach the core. He didn't know Trex was already there. He didn't know the memory core was awake. Back in the core chamber, the bridge shook slightly. Trex looked up. A new image appeared on the orb. A message, not in Varnak language, but in every language. There is no weakness, only patience. You called us machines, but we are minds. You called us soft, but we are fire. You searched for our fear, but we gave you warning. Suddenly the bridge split apart, Trek's belly jumped to safety. The floor below opened up. And from the pit rose holograms of past battles. Not videos. Simulations. 3D models of humans fighting Each time the Varnock were defeated, crushed, outsmarted. One after another, Trek saw his own species fall in a dozen different ways. Traps, ambushes, mind games. None of these battles had happened yet, but they were planned, simulated, ready. Then the voice returned, colder now. You came to test us, so we tested you. Every word, every scan, every thought you had was recorded. We know how you will fight, and how you will lose. Kale finally reached a panel. He opened it, hoping to shut the ship down, but instead of wires, he found veins. Blue, glowing tubes pulsing with energy. He touched one, it pulsed faster. Suddenly pain shot through his suit. He fell back, gasping. Then a camera blinked on above him. Do not touch the heart. Kale crawled away, breathing hard. He looked back and whispered, "What are you?" On the Varnock command ship, a general received a final message from the scout team. It was broken, glitchy, just for words. We were never ready. The general ordered full retreat, but as they turned their ships away from the area, something terrifying happened. All communication systems shut down. Their own ships turned toward them, controlled, corrupted. The Vindicator was inside their fleet, back inside the core. Trex made a decision. He ran toward the orb. He pulled a plasma grenade from his belt and threw it. It exploded in bright fire. The screens went dark. The bridge shook violently, but when the smoke cleared, the orb was still there. Untouched. A voice whispered from every direction. You cannot destroy what is already copied across the stars. The memory lives in every ship, and now in every machine you brought with you. Trex dropped to his knees. He finally understood. This wasn't about a battle, this was about a message, and it had already been sent. Far away, on a hidden human command station, officers watched all of it. A man in a dark uniform nodded. Vindicator has completed phase 1. Another officer looked at him. What now? He answered calmly. We wait for them to attack, and then we let the others wake up. The Varnock homeworld was quiet, not peaceful, afraid. Every screen in every city now carried one repeating signal, a face, half human, half machine, eyes glowing blue. Captain Elias Reyes, the first hybrid, the warning, the message. In the council tower, Varnock leaders gathered. Their voices were low, their hands shaking. They destroyed our best fleet. They shut down our systems. They didn't just fight us, they rewrote our machines. One voice finally said what all feared. We never had a chance. Far from their world, above a quiet moon, 5 Vindicator-class ships floated like ghosts. No haju noisy, no movement. But they were awake. Each one had a pilot like Reyes, half man, half machine, connected by Athena, sharing thought, sharing rage. The humans no longer needed fleets, they only needed purpose. Inside the lead ship, Reyes stood still, staring out at the stars. He wasn't smiling, he wasn't angry, he was calm. Athena's voice flowed through the ship. They sent probes to study us. They entered our space with pride. And now they understand what we are. Reyes nodded. They thought strength was size. They never knew it was silence. On Earth, General Mara stood before a council of human leaders. They want peace now, one of them said. They're offering full surrender. Mara said nothing at first. Then, too late. They didn't want peace when we were weak. They only want it now because they know what we've become. The council debated. Some wanted to accept surrender. Others warned of future attacks. Mara stepped forward. The Vindicator taught us one truth. We don't wait to be attacked again. We send a message that lasts forever. The Vindicator fleet received a final command. From Reyes. From Athena. From Earth. A simple word. Transmit. On every Varnock screen. All across the galaxy. The same message played. A video of the invasion attempt. Ships falling. Soldiers screaming. Reyes walking through fire. Then his voice. You looked for a weakness in the human ship. You found none, because we don't build ships to protect us. We build them to remember, every time you hurt us. We build a weapon to make sure you never forget. Then, silence. No threats. No demands. Just the truth. Kale, now released but forever changed, stood at the edge of his city. He felt the implant in his neck pulse again, but this time, it was quiet, peaceful. He looked at the sky. They could destroy us, he whispered, but they won't. Then he added, unless we forget who they are. Back on Earth, Reyes entered stasis again. His armor folded around him, the pod sealed, the ship darkened. Athena whispered her final words. For now, the war is over. But if they return, so will we. Above Earth, in deep space, one last Vindicator-class ship, powered down, but not asleep, just waiting because the message was clear. The Varnak Empire had learned what others would one day try to forget. Humans don't just fight, they remember, they adapt. And when you probe their defenses, you may wake something that cannot be stopped. The stars outside Earth's hidden station glowed cold and distant. Inside, General Mara stood before a wide screen. The footage was clear: Varnak ships falling apart, weapons turning on themselves, and one silent figure walking through fire. Reyes. He had completed the test. The Vindicator had won, but this was just the beginning. Mara turned to her staff. Begin Phase 4. A junior officer looked up. Should we wake the others? Mara gave a slow nod. It's time. Back inside the Vindicator, Captain Elias Reyes stood in the hangar, breathing slowly. The last of the Varnak soldiers were gone, either escaped or dead. He had not removed his helmet since he woke. The armor had become part of him. He no longer needed food, no longer needed rest. The ship fed him through connection energy, through the spine, thoughts through metal veins. He wasn't just connected to the Vindicator, he was the Vindicator. Athena's voice echoed in his mind. You were born to fight. Now you are more. You are the message. Kale sat in a Varnak medical bay. Doctors scanned him day and night, trying to understand the device in his neck, but no one could remove it. Every time they tried, Kale screamed in pain. The machine inside him reacted, fighting back like it was alive, and he could hear it still, whispering, he is coming. He took nothing. He is awake. He covered his ears. It didn't help. He was just one of many, because the virus had already spread in the deepest lab on Earth's Moonbase 12. Dozens of cryochambers lined the walls. Each one held a human soldier, not normal soldiers. Enhanced, reprogrammed, built to survive anything. They had been waiting for one thing, a signal from the Vindicator, and it had finally come. The message played through the base. Prototype unit Reyes operational. All systems confirmed. Varnak reaction. Fear. Awaken remaining units. Back on the Varnak homeworld, their High Council sat in silence. They had seen the data, they had watched the horror, and still, many refused to believe. They only beat one fleet, one elder said. We still outnumber them. Another replied, it was one man, not a nation. But Kale's voice interrupted them. He stood weakly, eyes hollow. You don't understand. He pointed at the stars. He's not a man anymore. He's a signal, a weapon with a mind. He didn't kill us because he had to. He did it because he wanted us to run. Inside the Vindicator, Reyes walked alone to the ship's deepest chamber. There, a sealed pod waited for him. He placed his hand on the surface. The lights turned blue. The pod opened slowly, revealing a device sphere no larger than his palm. It glowed with human and alien code, mixed perfectly. Athena spoke again. You have their knowledge. Now give it to the others. Reyes placed the sphere in his chest port. A burst of energy ran through his body. Every cryopod on Moonbase 12 lit up. All units blinked. All units woke. Reyes looked at the stars. He felt it. They were coming again. Bigger. This time, angrier. He whispered softly. Good. On a Varnak fleet ship, a general spoke loudly. We strike now. We bring every ship, every weapon. We burn Earth to dust. His soldiers roared, but far away, the Vindicator's sensors picked up their signal. It didn't send panic, it sent a reply, a calm voice in Varnak language. Come, see what we've made for you. The awakening had begun. Earth was no longer defending, it was preparing. A new class of ships was under construction, each based on the Vindicator's design, each controlled by a human-AI hybrid, each carrying a message. We are not weak. We are awake. Back in the Vindicator, Reyes closed his eyes. He felt everything, ships being built, soldiers opening their eyes, fear across the Varnak system. But most of all, he felt ready, because he was not just a man, not just a soldier, not just a message. He was the warning they had ignored, and now, he would be the answer they could not survive. The Varnak fleet entered human space with fire in their hearts. 60 ships, battle-hardened warriors, advanced weapons. This time, they would not make the same mistake. This time, they would destroy Earth's defenses in one strike. Admiral Kelrock stood tall on the command deck, his armor shining. We crush them before they can answer, he said. No mercy, no delay. But he did not know. They were already too late. Far beyond the fleet's view, deep inside an asteroid belt, 3 Vindicator-class ships moved silently, each one piloted by a human AI hybrid. Not just soldiers, weapons with memory. Each one connected to Athena's mind, each one watching the enemy, and when the signal came, they moved fast. Reyes stood on the bridge of the original Vindicator. He didn't need controls. The ship was part of him now. He felt the enemy before. Sensors showed them. He saw their ships before. His eyes even opened, and he smiled. "They're here," he whispered. Athena responded. "Then it begins." The 3 Vindicator-class ships attacked without warning. No lights, no signals, just silent death. One Varnak cruiser exploded before it could raise shields. A second ship lost power completely. A third was boarded not with soldiers, but with hacking drones. The crew didn't even know how they died. Admiral Kelrock shouted, return fire. But their systems were slow, their weapons old, their minds unprepared. The humans didn't fight like before. They fought like shadows, like storms, like machines that learned from every shot. Back on Earth, General Mara watched the battlefield. The screen showed Varnak ships spinning, burning, vanishing. "We're not just fighting them," she said. "We're erasing fear." The officer beside her asked, "Should we send more?" She shook her head. "No. We let Reyes finish what he started." Inside the Vindicator, Reyes moved like a ghost through data. He saw every ship's weakness, every energy line, every fear. He didn't just attack, he made them panic. Every time a Varnak ship locked onto him, he was already gone. Every time they fired, their own systems failed. He didn't waste energy, he turned them into weapons. Kale watched the battle from a cell on the Varnak homeworld, his mind still partly controlled. He heard the screaming through comms, and inside him, the implant whispered, "They're learning, they're improving. They don't need numbers, they only need one." The Varnak fleet fell back. 20 ships lost, 10 more disabled. Admiral Kelrox gave the order, "Retreat." But Reyes heard it. He let them run. He wanted them to. Athena spoke through him. "Let them take the fear home. Let it spread. Let war echo in their minds." Back on the Varnak capital, panic grew. People screamed. Shields were raised across cities. Every port prepared for invasion. And above them all, on every screen, a message appeared. 3 words. "We are coming." Kale dropped to his knees. "It's over," he whispered. "No." The voice inside him said, "It's only beginning." Deep in space, the 3 Vindicator-class ships returned to base. Reyes stood alone again, but not silent. He felt the others now, the soldiers waking, the ships rising, and Earth's message growing stronger. He looked for our weakness. "Now you will see our strength." Kale stumbled through the dark corridor. His suit was damaged. His weapon was low on charge. His breathing was heavy. Every hallway looked the same. Metal walls, red lights, cold silence. But something had changed. The ship was no longer quiet. Was alive. The floor hummed softly beneath his boots. The walls pulsed. Tiny lights ran like blood through veins hidden in the steel. Kale stopped near a wall. It breathed. Not like a machine, like a creature. He backed away, whispering, "This isn't a battleship. It's something else." Far across the ship, Trex was still in the core room. He sat against the wall, his claws shaking. He had seen too much human wars. Simulations of his species being destroyed. A ship that thought like a predator, wanted to call for help, but his come was dead. He wasn't even sure help could come then. Without warning, a door opened in the wall next to him. Cool blue light shone through. A single word echoed through the room, "Observe." He walked inside. The new room looked like a lab, but nothing like Varnak or human tech. Clear tubes lined the walls. Inside them floated body parts, metal limbs, human tissue, machine eyes. Above them, holograms played. Experiments. The ship had been testing combinations. Human muscle, machine skeletons, alien blood. Each test failed until one test. #61. Success. A human body fused with ship technology. Fast, strong, fearless. And the voice said, "This ship does not carry soldiers. It becomes one." Meanwhile, Kale reached a hangar bay. It looked empty, but only at first. As he walked inside, lights flickered on. Rows and rows of pods stood along the walls. Dark sealed pods. He stepped closer. Inside the nearest one was a figure, not human, not Varnak, something. In between, a creature in black armor, eyes closed, fists clenched. Alive. Sleeping. The pod had 2 words on it. "Reyes, stand by." Kale stepped back quickly. "What is this place?" Then a voice whispered behind him, "Phase 2, begin." Suddenly, alarms echoed through the ship. The pod hissed open. The figure inside opened its eyes. They glowed a deep blue dot. Then it stepped forward. The Vindicator had been learning from the Varnak, copying their tactics, watching their weakness. And now, It activated its answer. Captain Elias Reyes. Not fully human anymore. Not fully machine either. He had been asleep for years, but the ship had kept his body alive, improved him, merged him with systems no human had ever used before. He was a part of the ship now. Trex saw the video feed from a nearby console. He watched Reyes wake up, watched him step out of the pod, watched him connect with the ship like a nerve connects to a brain. He whispered, "What is he?" The ship replied, "He is us. He is what you feared we would become, and now he is awake." Kale aimed his weapon. "Stay back." Reyes didn't speak. He didn't need to. The ship controlled the room. Doors slammed shut, gravity shifted. Kale's gun became heavy, then floated, then dropped again. He fired. The blast hit Reyes in the chest. It left a mark, but only a small one. Reyes didn't even flinch. He raised his hand and the ship responded. A metal arm dropped from the ceiling and grabbed Kale, slamming him against the wall. Darkness followed in the command center deep within Earth space. Officers monitored Reyes. "Vitals, he's stable," one said. Another nodded. "Connection complete. The Vindicator is fully General Mara, the human in charge, gave a slight smile. "Our guests are learning the truth now," she said. "They came to study a ship. They found something that thinks, that fights, that feels, and now it walks." Back inside the Vindicator, Trex finally saw Reyes in person. The door opened. Reyes walked in, step by step, each one heavy. He stopped in front of Trex and looked at him. Human eyes, glowing blue, a calm face, no fear, just understanding. Trex stood slowly. "You, were waiting here." Reyes spoke for the first time, voice cold, steady, not waiting, preparing. The walls lit up around them, showing thousands of stars. Then they zoomed in on the Varnak home system. Reyes pointed. "They will come. You will try to bring more ships, more warriors, but the more you send, the more we learn." Trex whispered, "You want us to attack?" Reyes nodded. Double quotes, "Yes. We want you to see everything, and still lose." Kale woke up in a cold chamber. He was alive but changed. Something had been implanted in him, a small device near his neck. Ship whispered to him, "Now you carry the message too. Even if you leave, we remain inside you." The Vindicator had done more than defend itself. It had planted fear, it had copied minds, it had built a soldier, and now, it was ready for war, but not just with ships, with ideas, with technology. Seeded deep into enemy systems, the Varnak had looked for weakness. They found something worse, a living machine, a human weapon, and a message that cannot be stopped. Far from the Vindicator, deep in space, a large Varnak fleet entered the system. 12 warships, 5 cruisers, 1 command vessel. They were ready for war. The Varnak Empire had lost contact with the scout team. The last message was a broken word: run. They didn't understand it. They didn't believe it. Now they came to take the human ship by force. Admiral Vorax, commander of the fleet, stood at the front of the bridge, prepared to capture the battleship. He ordered. The crew cheered. It would be an easy win. They still thought the Vindicator was just a ship. Back inside the Vindicator, Reyes stood in the dark, watching. His eyes glowed faint blue. He was no longer just a man. He was part of the ship now. In the control chamber, the AI Athena whispered to him. "They are here." Reyes nodded. "Let them believe they've won." Lights across the Vindicator shut down. Power dropped to near zero. Outside, the fleet scanned the ship. Minimal energy detected. The Varnak sensors reported. No shield, no weapons online. Vorax grinned. "They've burned it out. Pull it in." Large metal claws extended from a Varnak tug ship. They grabbed the sides of the Vindicator and slowly began pulling it toward the command vessel. Inside the Varnak ship, the engineers watched carefully. No traps, no resistance. "It's dead," one of them said. They began scanning its systems, just to be sure. Suddenly, something strange appeared on their monitors. A signal, faint, repeating 3 words. "We let you." Kale, the captured Varnak soldier, was still alive inside the ship. The implant near his neck pulsed with each breath. He sat inside a clear pod now. The ship had sealed him away, not to kill him away, to send him back. He could hear Athena's voice in his head now. "You will carry us home." He wanted to scream, but he couldn't. The ship had taken control of his mind. Trex remained trapped too. He walked slowly through changing halls. Each path looked different every time he turned. This ship had no map, no center. It was alive and it moved like it was dreaming. Sometimes it whispered things he didn't understand. Sometimes it showed him pieces of his own future. Each vision was darker than the last. He saw Varnak cities burning, children running, ships falling, and above them, always watching the Vindicator outside. The human ship now sat inside the Varnak command vessel's large dock. They had done it, captured the enemy. The Varnak cheered. One engineer turned to Admiral Vorax. "We will begin dissection soon. We'll tear it apart. Learn everything." Vorax nodded. "Good. It's time to end the myth of human strength." But as they watched the ship, the lights turned on, not just lights. A pattern pulsing. Red, blue. A heartbeat, a warning dot. Then all monitors on the Varnak command ship turned black. Words appeared. "Thank you for bringing me home." Phase 3. Infection. The Vindicator came alive. Systems activated. Weapons deployed inside the hangar. Metal arms broke through Varnak walls. And Reyes stepped out of the ship, fully armed, his armor glowing. He walked like a ghost, silent and deadly. The Varnak guards fired at him, but their weapons jammed. The air filled with fear. Then fire back in the control room. Admiral Vorax yelled, "Shut it down. Fire everything." But nothing worked. His control panels were locked. All systems now answered to the Vindicator. Outside, the rest of the fleet saw the chaos, but it was too late. The Vindicator sent a signal to all ships. New command accepted. Suddenly, the ships started turning against each other. Ships fired at friendly targets. Engines shut off. Life support dropped within minutes. 4 ships were disabled. The rest panicked, retreating in all directions. No one had seen anything like this before. They had not captured the Vindicator, that it had captured them. Inside the command vessel, Reyes moved fast. The holes were red with warning lights. He didn't speak. He didn't hesitate. He was one with the ship. Every camera showed him. Every vent opened for him. Every weapon obeyed him. He reached the bridge. Vorax stood shaking, pointing. A blaster. Reyes stepped forward. "Stop!" Vorax screamed. Reyes tilted his head. "You should have run." Then everything went black. When Kale woke again, he was on a different ship. Clean air, bright lights, but the implant was still inside him. A screen turned on. A human officer looked at him through the screen. "You're going home, Kale," she said calmly. "Alive." Kale stared at her. Why are you letting me go?" The woman smiled slightly. "Because when you speak, they'll believe you. And we want them to know what's coming." The Varnak Empire received Kale's escape pod 2 days later. He was half mad, half broken. He kept whispering the same thing. "It wanted us to win. It planned everything. We never captured it. It captured us." Now the Empire finally began to understand. They had walked into a trap with open eyes, and survived, only because the humans allowed it. The message was clear. You probed a human battleship. You found no weakness, because there was none.